Good morning, class of 2017. I would like to begin with a short story. The day my father got his very first car, he got into a minor car accident. No worries, he has improved his driving skills since then. Sad and frustrated, he had to deliver the bad news to his own father, whom calmed my dad down and said, "Son, the bullfighter, one day lifts the bull ring, carries shoulder high, and yet another day he can be gored by the bull. Nevertheless, he always stands up and goes out again to the arena." There's a caveat here. The original quote was in Spanish. When I first thought of translating it into English, I wondered if it was possible to do it in every single language spoken here at Northeastern. Then I found out that we have 139 different nationalities studying here, and my time is only limited to 5 minutes, so we won't go there. Nonetheless, let us feel proud of how significantly Northeastern embraces the immeasurable benefits of diversity and inclusion. The message of that quote has been passed down in my family, generation to generation, and it was what made me pursue my dream of coming to Northeastern so determinedly. When the time came to apply for university, as a foreign student I learned that we were required to complete an English proficiency test. Unfortunately, on my first attempt, I did not meet the score criteria to come to this great university. So, I completed my freshman year at a different university and vowed to myself that I would stop at nothing to improve my English proficiency in order to apply as a transfer student here at Northeastern. The strange thing was, I was not afraid of failing. My desire of coming here was greater than anything else. And on May 14th, 2013, I received an email that said, "Congratulations, you're a Husky now." As commencement approached, I constantly asked myself, what does it mean to be a Husky? Becoming a Husky meant being part of the most unique university environment in the nation. It meant going to study on a dialogue to France, and in that absorbing a distinct culture on top of learning a new language. It meant having 2 working experiences, both in Boston and abroad, helping to facilitate my academic experience. It meant being able to shape a venture with one of my classmates that guided me toward the career path I want to pursue after graduation. I look back at the decision I made, and I could not be more proud of choosing Northeastern University as my alma mater. I'm sure you all feel the same way, because by no means am I an exception within our community. In fact, my experience is the norm here at Northeastern. As I pursued my degree, I was delighted to hear my classmates' extraordinary experiences. Whether it was going to Saudi Arabia, under a program geared towards better understanding family-owned businesses in the Middle East, going to the Dominican Republic over spring break in order to help within the poorest communities of Puerto Plata, or experiencing the life of diplomacy through a dialogue in the United Nations at Geneva. These stories, among many more, have allowed me to realize that above all, being a Husky meant having the privilege of being part of an extraordinary community of people who refuses to settle for the status quo and who understands the immeasurable power of we. We are an institution that praises going against the grain, because it is by building our own roads that we can together have a greater impact on society. I am confident that some of the greatest minds that will change our world are sitting right here among us at this very moment. The next social entrepreneur who will pursue poverty alleviation across the world is sitting here among us today. The next policymaker embracing democracy, freedom, and prosperity is sitting here among us today. The next engineer that will advance the hottest new technology for the empowerment of society is sitting here among us today. The next doctor that will achieve the cure of cancer is sitting right here among us today. Each of us, in our respective field, has the power to help others become the fullest versions of themselves. However, as we look to the future, we cannot forget the core values that run our institution: inclusion, tolerance, and honesty. Especially in times like right now, we ought not to be afraid of going against the grain, because it is in the appraisal of our values and in our great commitment to strive forward, challenging the status quo, where we will succeed and shape the world we want to live in. For that reason, let us think big and bet big without being afraid of failure. If we fail, let us not see limitations, but rather a breed of possibilities in standing up and trying it all over again. Finally, allow me to give you one concluding thought. As we walk out that door today, after having accomplished such a tremendous achievement in our lives, let us not take the world for granted, but rather, let us pursue the greatest challenges the world has to offer, just how they were expected of us to do here at Northeastern. Because, fellow Huskies, the world's biggest problems will be nothing but the world's biggest opportunities. Thank you all so very much, and congratulations, class of 2017.